Hello, I'm Jen Nami Padgett with the Dear Nami Brodcast on the Everyday Priestess Channel here on YouTube. And today we have a question about narcissists. So it's a deep, heavy subject, and I think one, honestly, that I've kind of avoided a little bit, but I got the question, so I'm going to do my best to give my best advice around this. So here's the question. Dear Nami, can you tell me your best advice on how to stay centered and in your truth while dealing with a narcissist? How can I be loving and magical while dealing with unloving people? Signed, Confused and Heartbroken. So first, I would have to say, recognize that you're being gaslit. I think we try to come up with all sorts of excuses for toxic behavior when we love someone. So we chalk it up to their stress at work or their bad parenting, the parenting that they got, or even an addiction. So we don't even recognize or acknowledge that we are being gaslit. And once you do, it's a game changer. Maybe not an easy one, but you have to know and recognize all that you're dealing with so that you can learn what's happening and heal from it. And secondly, I'd like to say, take a step outside of the situation as much as you possibly can. Realize that this is their mental health issue and not yours. And it's hard when you've been abused to not take it personally, especially when the abuse is all about attacking you personally, but it's not about you. Let's flip the script on this a little bit. Everything this person has said about you, they think this about themselves. What a trip, actually, huh? I mean, you think of them as confident and so sure of themselves because they have such conviction, and how sad it is if you sit to think about it. How sad is it that they have all these feelings, inner feelings, just about themselves? So everything they've said about you, they think about you themselves. And they don't have the tools. They don't have any other tools than to abuse other people. And so they will never have this deep, satisfying connection or relationship with others. And I say that not so that you have empathy, so much empathy that you let this abuse continue, but I say that so that you realize that you have a superpower that your abuser doesn't have. Empathy is the real superpower here. When you can learn to use that in a healthy way. Connection to others is a superpower. Finding others who have these same superpowers will actually be the real game changer for you. Find people who think you're amazing. If you live with a narcissist, just be careful of the difference between that love bombing and true adoration. Because there are a lot of unhealed people out there. And when you've attracted a narcissist into your life, then you may be attracting a lot of maybe not all narcissists, but some who exhibit abusive behavior. So just be careful of the love bombing, because a lot of us do that. And sometimes it's unintentional, but what you're looking for is this true adoration. So and I think for me, I felt the difference. After a while, I felt the difference. And the adoration is not about feeding your ego, but to finally understand what love actually feels like. You won't believe the kind words at first, but lean into that. If you have a history with a narcissist, it's a possibility that the family unit you grew up in taught you that you were not deserving of love. And it's hard to understand this, especially if you experience true acts of love from them at the same time. So your family showed up for you, for all the events and all the stuff, but these two can exist in the same. You could have major acts of love from your family, and there could also be some abusive tendencies and things that you grew up with. Like the notion of standing out and accepting praise. not being a desirable trait. A lot of us grew up with that. The truth is, all children deserve to have parents who dote on them and think that they're amazing. And if you didn't have that, it's going to get really uncomfortable to accept praise and love. But do it anyway. Don't diminish that love on your own behalf. And also, understand, though this abuse is not your fault, that you will likely have maybe some big mental health issues to deal with yourself. So you need to get help around that. You need to build up your emotional intelligence and resilience with yourself to manage unloving people. It takes a lot of work, but it's worth it to be able to allow others to live in the world that they've created. It's their lesson, not yours. When you realize that your help or attention is actually delaying their lesson, it's easier for you to step out of it. And when you realize that cutting a person's abuse out maybe will lead to them getting help more quickly, it's also easier. And again, it's not for you to fix. Whatever their path is their path. Your path is yours. I'd like to say too, once you start building this resilience, the more that you can live in your truth and knowing without question that you're a good person. And once you know that truly in your heart that you're a good person and that you are doing everything that you can to live a life of integrity, then it's harder for people to knock you down. It's easier to step out of what looks like abuse or what is abuse when you have been able to accept some true feelings of love from others and realize that you inherently as a human being deserve that love. Once those things are in place, it's going to be really hard for someone who has these tendencies to derail you. So some of the other things that you can do is just make sure that you have a spiritual practice. That's one of my main things. Once I got into priestessing, there's a lot of people with integrity in this world that I was able to come across who helped me heal in many different ways. The big part was just showing love, just this love that like flowed through these women and into me. And I was able to mirror that love back and able to experience that in some healthy ways. So for me, a spiritual practice and finding my tribe that allowed me to flourish was one of the main things that has been helpful for me. I've done spiritual practice my whole life too. It was just like coming into finding something that really fed my soul. So find something that's nourishing for you and that feels like the most healthy, wonderful feeling for you. And I'm not saying spiritual practice is always like, oh, flowers and roses and, all the pretty things, because it's not. But having something to hold you while you're going through or having a group to hold you is an amazing thing. So, and I highly recommend the Priestess World. We're on the Everyday Priestess Channel after all. Anyway, so I think also just finally live this magical life anyway. We live in this duality of dark and light. And sometimes we don't realize that we can do both things at once. So we need to be able to experience this light and this joy at the same time that we're going through this healing. And we need the light. Experience whatever you need to make you feel happy and magical without guilt. And you can do this alongside the healing, like I said. You can even do it alongside the abuse while you're navigating your way out of it. Your spirit needs to feel alive, and the universe needs you to feel alive. And we need these people to shine brightly. We need these lights. The more community of people who love you that you can build around you, the more protection you will have, and the more you will feel comfortable doing this, which is just living in your light. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope this has been helpful. And if you're a listener and you have a question for me, then please submit it. I love to get questions. It helps me as much as I feel like hopefully it's helping those out there who are listening, because it gives me a chance to sit down and reflect on what my true feelings about a subject is. And so thank you for everyone who is out there who have submitted questions, and I really appreciate other submissions as well. Again, contact is down below. JLPnami, Nami @gmail.com is my email, and you can send it out there. And for right now, I just want to sit. This is what I do at the end of a lot of sessions, is just call in our universal energies, our ancestors, angels, and guides. Our ancestors especially have lived through all the stuff that we're living through now. They have solutions to the things that we may not have solutions to. They've lived it. They know. So all we have to do is call in and ask for that assistance, because our guides are just out there waiting for us to ask for assistance. So that's what I'm doing for everybody who's listening right now. And for everybody who's not, that are dealing with these situations that are hard to grapple with. I pray that our ancestors, angels, and guides can touch all of us to help us have more healthy interactions with ourselves and with others, and that this extreme behavior that's happening with a number of people in our lives can be diminished, that they can be shown love, that there is and can be shown a different way of handling and dealing with the insecurities, fears, and abuse that may have happened in their lives to cause narcissistic behavior. And for us who are on the other end of narcissistic behaviors to realize all the things that we can do. It's hard work, but realize all the things that we can do to help diminish this, because if we're not responsive to the behavior, then the behavior has to change. So it takes all of us collectively to make this change. And that's what I'm asking for the universe and for all of the good-natured ancestors and guides and angels out there to help assist in creating healing around this. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will see you in a couple weeks.